Hey everybody, it's Monster and I'm back with another headphone review. Today I'm going to be sitting outside enjoying what's left of the New York summer, and I'll be talking today about what I feel is the best headphone that you can buy for under $100, and these are the Grado SR80e. Now, I'm going to go from one extreme to the other. My last headphone review was on the $1,300 Hi-Fi Man HE6, which is an absolute bitch to drive. Has quality control issues, and it's $1,300. This is the other end of the spectrum. These go for $99. And they're very easy to drive. You can plug them straight into a phone, and they work wonderfully. And for 99 bucks, in my opinion, you cannot beat these for guitar-oriented music. So if you're into rock or anything that has a guitar, and you don't feel like spending several $100s on a pair of headphones, I think that your search for a good pair of headphones should begin and end with the Grado SR80e. And I'll be telling you a little bit about what's good about them, a little bit what's not so good about them. And hopefully, if you've been on the fence about buying yourself a new pair of headphones to listen to rock music, I can help you out with this. So let's talk about the way these sound. Whenever a new pair of headphones comes out, the powers that be in the headphone world, they measure the frequency response of headphones, and ideally you want your response to be as flat as possible, giving it a neutral response. These are anything but flat. These are so full of peaks and valleys, it looks like Mount Everest. But the good thing about these peaks and valleys is that a couple of the peaks happen to live in the exact same frequency where guitar music is. So it brings guitars forward and gives guitars a very textured sound. And because of that, people really like Grados for rock and metal. And for $100, in my opinion, you can't beat these. If you listen to blues, you listen to surf, classic rock, metal, punk, anything that has guitars in it, these are hard to beat. If you're into pop music, modern, whatever it is that they call music today, that essentially has no guitars, that essentially has no vocals. It has somebody talking through a synthesizer, and it has lots of bass and lots of treble. You don't want these. These do not do that kind of music well. What these do is they bring forward guitars. They bring forward, to a lesser extent, but almost, keyboards and vocals. So anything like you're listening to some Deep Purple or Fleetwood Mac, whatever, excellent headphones, especially for the money. For 99 bucks, it's like you can't beat these. As I said, they're peaky. And in my opinion, they're a little bit bright. It can be a little bit fatiguing. But I'm used to and prefer warm headphones. So if you're into bright headphones, if you like a lot of treble and a lot of tss, these may not bother you at all. For me, they're a little bit bright, but it's not like the end of the world. What I will say, a couple things that I don't like about the Grado SR80Es, and it essentially goes for all Grados, is the on-ear presentation of these headphones. Many headphones, most headphones that I have, in fact every pair of headphones I own, goes around the ear. They sit over your ear. Grados sit on the ear, and I got small ears. And so when I put these on, it kind of pins my entire ear to my skull, and after about 10-15 minutes, it gets a little bit irritating. So I don't like that. These pads right here, they come off, and you can get different shaped pads that will alter the way they sound, as well as change the comfort. They have bowls, which are larger. They're kind of like that big, and they go over your ear. And it does improve the comfort a little bit, but it also changes the sound. It gives it a wider sound stage, but it lessens the impact on your drums, your toms, etc. So you can mess around with the sound of these just by changing the pads as well as the comfort. Another thing that I don't like about the Grados is the cable. The cable is, first of all, it's very short. So if you're kicking back, you know, if you got like 6, 7, 8 feet between your recliner and your source where you plug these into, this little cable's not going to cut it. You're going to need an extension. On top of that, for whatever reason, the cable's very thick and cumbersome. It's not a really... this is not meant to be taken out on the town, besides the fact that these are open backs, which means that if you're out walking around at the gym, whatever, and you're listening to music through these, everybody around you is going to hear what you're listening to, and you're going to hear what everybody else is saying around you, which means you're going to bump up the volume, which is going to piss off the people around you even more, and it's going to damage your hearing. So these are not really meant for outside use. These are meant to be listened to in the home, which is why the short cable is a little bit perplexing. You know, you can get an extension and plug it into this and then plug it into your source. But, you know, a longer cable, in my opinion, for home use would have been nice. As I said earlier, these aren't really good for bass-centric music. They have virtually no sub-bass extension. So if you're into modern pop or trance or anything that's got a lot of low-frequency music, these give up at around 80, 90 hertz, and they just start to fall off the table. So you're going to lose all that content below 80 or 90 hertz. And, you know, there are better choices. If you're into that kind of music, there are better choices out there. But if you're into, as I said, rock, blues, punk, surf, even some metal, for 99 bucks, I would highly recommend these. They're pretty fast. I wouldn't say that they're the end all, you know, for speed for metal. So they can get a little bit bogged down when you're going through some speed runs. The imaging on these are pretty good. You know, you can clearly hear it's not just a left-right presentation. There's a full spectrum of music going on around your head, and you can definitely tell where everybody's kind of set up in the studio. The soundstage isn't overly wide, but it isn't narrow. But again, we're talking about a pair of headphones that are under $100. So, you know, my previous video was on a pair of headphones over $1,300, and one of my friends who's not into headphones watched the video, and she commented to me, she goes, "My God, $1,300 for a pair of headphones, that's crazy." And yeah, you know, and if you've never heard a $1,300 pair of headphones, and you want to know what the difference is between that and this, you're getting about 70 to 80% for $100. It's the smaller details that you pay the extra $1,200 for. The impact, the sub-bass extension, you know, there's a lot of things that go into the difference between a $99 headphone and a $1,300 headphone. Is it worth it? If I was to be honest, no, not really. But if you're into a hobby and you absolutely positively want to squeeze every last note out of every last song, and you've got the peripheral equipment around it, then I could see where you want to spend. I could rationalize spending $1,300 or $2,000 or $3,000 or even $4,000 or $5,000 for a pair of headphones if that's your thing. But you can get about 80% of the way with these. And you don't need an amp, although an amp helps. You can plug these right into your phone and they work great. They're easy to drive. And as I said, for rock music, you can't do any better for the price. Now, I've got a pair of AKG K240 sextets, and there's a thread on headphone that call them the gradoed AKGs. And the reason they say that is because those sextets bring guitars more forward than even the grados do, and without the rest of the troublesome peakiness in the upper mids and highs. The sextets are glorious headphones, and I'll review those at another date. So to summarize, the Grado SR80es. The good are the price, $99. The sound quality for guitar-oriented music, excellent. Ease to drive. You can plug these babies right into your mobile phone or a little tiny desktop amp. Works great. But not so great. I don't think they're the last word in comfort with their on-ear, the way they sit on your ears. The build quality is, I mean, it's not bad. It's not the greatest thing I've ever, it doesn't scream luxury, although it does scream retro. And the cable is a little bit short and bulky for my taste. But, again, we're talking about a $99 pair of headphones. So, that really wraps up this quick review of the SR80e by Grado. I feel like Grados have been covered pretty extensively, and if you've heard one Grado, you've essentially kind of heard them all, and I don't want to get flamed for saying that, but I think that the value in Grados lie with this particular model, the SR80e and the SR225e, which is, I think, about $200, and you get a little bit more of everything that these do across the board. Grado does sell, $600, $800, $1,000, $2,000 headphones. In my personal opinion, I would have once you start spending 4 digits for headphones, I think there are better options available. But for $99, for rock music, for guitar music, for folk, anything where it's, a real singer playing a real instrument without all that obnoxious bass and treble, if I was to only buy one pair of headphones, I would have to strongly consider the Grado SR80e. So that wraps up this quick video review, and I hope it helps you. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave down here in the comment section below. And from sunny New York in late September, it's amazing. We'll see you again next time. Take care.